Have you ever wondered if your behavior is a red flag for mental health issues? Our mental health is a precious thing, and self-awareness is a crucial part of maintaining it. Today we're going to explore 6 behavioral signs that could indicate potential mental health concerns. These include negative self-talk, the need for social validation, neurotic need for control, toxic perfectionism, avoidant attachment, and social media addiction. Remember, the first step towards improvement is recognition. So, stay tuned as we delve into the details of these 6 red flags. The first red flag is negative self-talk. Now, what exactly is negative self-talk? It's that little voice in your head, your inner dialogue, that's constantly telling you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, or that you're bound to fail. It's the echo of criticism and doubt that can limit our ability to believe in ourselves and reach our full potential. Negative self-talk can take many forms. Maybe it's telling yourself you'll never land that job because you don't have enough experience, or convincing yourself that you're not smart enough to pass that exam. Or perhaps it's that lingering thought that you're not worthy of love or happiness. But here's the thing. These thoughts, they're not just harmless whispers. They can have a significant impact on your mental health. They can lead to anxiety, depression, and a whole host of other mental health issues. They can make you feel trapped, stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and self-deprecation. Now let's think about the potential implications. What if you let these thoughts control your actions? You might miss out on opportunities, abandon ambitions, or even isolate yourself from others, all because you believe the negative chatter in your head. But remember, it's not all doom and gloom. There's help out there. If you find yourself constantly engaging in negative self-talk, it might be time to reach out to a psychologist or try cognitive behavioral therapy. Recognizing and acknowledging these thoughts is the first step towards overcoming them. The second red flag is an excessive need for social validation. Now let's unpack this a bit. Social validation is a psychological phenomenon where one's beliefs and actions are influenced by the perception of others. It's the reason we feel good when someone likes our new haircut or compliments our outfit. It's a fundamental human need to feel accepted and part of the tribe. But here's the catch. When the need for social validation becomes excessive, it can take a toll on our mental health. It can cause us to constantly seek approval, to change our behavior, or even our identity, just to fit in. This can lead to anxiety, depression, and lower self-esteem. Imagine a chameleon, constantly changing its colors to match its surroundings, never truly being itself. That's what an excessive need for social validation can do to us. It can prevent us from living authentically, from being true to ourselves. This need for validation often stems from a place of insecurity, a feeling of not being good enough unless others say so. It's a shaky foundation to build our self-worth upon because it depends on something we can't control, other people's opinions. So it's essential to recognize if we're falling into this trap. Are we constantly seeking approval? Do we feel anxious when we don't receive it? Are we changing ourselves to fit in? Remember, your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. You are enough just as you are, and that's a fact worth remembering. The third red flag we have on our list is a neurotic need for control. Control is an essential part of our lives. It helps us manage our actions, our surroundings, and even our emotions. It gives us a sense of security and predictability. However, like anything in excess, an obsessive need for control can be a sign of emotional distress. This neurotic need for control often originates from a place of fear or anxiety. When life seems uncertain or unpredictable, we may cling to control as a way to cope. We might find ourselves trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives, from our daily routines to our relationships. We might feel uncomfortable with spontaneity and become overly rigid or inflexible. This obsession can be harmful. It can create unnecessary stress, damage relationships, and prevent us from fully experiencing life. We might push away opportunities for growth because they involve uncertainty. Or we might exhaust ourselves trying to maintain an illusion of control, leaving little energy for anything else. It's essential to understand that control is a balance. While it's important to take charge of our lives, we also need to accept that we can't control everything. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and part of living is learning to navigate these changes with grace and resilience. So, if you find yourself constantly trying to control every aspect of your life, it might be time to take a step back and reassess. it's important to remember that not everything is in our control, and that's okay. The fourth red flag is toxic perfectionism. Now, there's a fine line that separates healthy perfectionism, a virtue that pushes you to strive for excellence, from its toxic counterpart, a vice that can take a heavy toll on your mental health. Healthy perfectionism is when you set high standards for yourself, but you're flexible enough to adjust and adapt when things don't go as planned. It's when you see failure as an opportunity to learn and grow, rather than as evidence of your inadequacy. On the other hand, toxic perfectionism is when you constantly chase an unattainable ideal, where anything less than perfect is unacceptable. It's when you tie your self-worth to the achievement of these unrealistic goals, and every small mistake feels like a massive catastrophe. This relentless pursuit of perfection can lead to severe stress, anxiety, depression, and even burnout. It can trap you in a vicious cycle of self-criticism and self-doubt, making you feel like you're never good enough. It can make you fear making mistakes, taking risks, or trying new things, which can limit your growth and potential. More than just a personality trait, toxic perfectionism can be a response to fear, a fear of failure, a fear of judgment, a fear of not being good enough. It's important to recognize this red flag in ourselves and work towards developing a healthier approach to our goals and self-expectations. Striving for excellence is great, but remember, nobody is perfect. The fifth red flag is avoidant attachment. Now, what exactly is avoidant attachment? It's a type of attachment style that people develop from their experiences in early childhood. People with avoidant attachment often have a fear of intimacy and tend to be emotionally distant in relationships. They might seem self-sufficient and independent, but they're likely wrestling with a deep-seated fear of rejection and vulnerability. This fear can lead to a number of negative outcomes in relationships. It can cause you to push away those who try to get close to you, creating a cycle of isolation and loneliness. You might also find it difficult to trust others, which can lead to a lack of emotional support and connection. The impact of avoidant attachment doesn't stop at relationships. It can also have serious implications for your mental health. The constant push-pull of wanting connection but fearing intimacy can lead to feelings of anxiety and depression. You might feel trapped in your own patterns of behavior, unsure of how to break free. But the good news is, awareness is the first step towards change. Once you recognize these patterns in yourself, you can begin to work towards developing healthier attachment styles. This might involve therapy or counseling, where you can explore your fears and learn new ways to relate to others. If you find yourself constantly avoiding emotional intimacy, it might be time to seek help. The sixth and final red flag is social media addiction. Now, this is a big one. In our digital age, social media has become a significant part of our daily lives. It's where we connect with friends, share our thoughts, and even get our daily dose of news. But like anything else, too much of it can be harmful. Social media addiction is when we become overly reliant on these platforms, to the point where it becomes a primary source of satisfaction and entertainment. It's when the first thing you do in the morning is check your notifications, or when you feel restless without scrolling through your feeds every few minutes. This compulsive behavior is a clear sign of addiction. But why is this a red flag for mental health? Well, excessive use of social media can lead to feelings of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. It can make us compare our lives to others, fostering feelings of inadequacy. It can also disrupt our sleep and productivity, affecting our overall well-being. Now, don't get me wrong, social media isn't inherently bad. It's a tool. And like any tool, it's all about how we use it. But if you find yourself spending an excessive amount of time on it, it might be time to take a step back. Remember, it's perfectly fine to disconnect from the digital world. Your mental health is more important. So, take a break, go for a walk, read a book, or simply enjoy the world around you. After all, life is happening right here, right now, not just on your screen. To sum up, we've discussed 6 red flags you shouldn't ignore in yourself. Negative self-talk, where our inner dialogue limits our potential. This could be addressed by reaching out to a psychologist or using techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy. Secondly, the need for social validation, which can be managed by fostering self-confidence and reducing reliance on external approval. The neurotic need for control, which can be mitigated by learning to let go and embrace uncertainty. Next, toxic perfectionism, a trait that can be softened by learning to appreciate progress over perfection. Then, avoidant attachment, a tendency that can be worked on by developing trust and opening up to emotional intimacy. Finally, social media addiction, which can be controlled by setting healthy boundaries and spending time offline. If you identify with any of these behaviors, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Remember, acknowledging the presence of an issue is the first step towards overcoming it. Take care of your mental health.